able to stand on my feet. A few weeks ago, I was suffering from gout. It was quite painful. And Rebecca, right there, so Rebecca performed energy, what do you call it, energy therapy?
Therapeutic energy.
On my feet. Like, and it's amazing, you know. And, so I hope that we can all minister to each other and help each other. It's not just me or my wife, you know. I'm just an old man, right? Maybe I learn a little bit more than you. I'm older, right? And so the whole idea is that we are all in the same boat. We are all in the same boat. To use Buddha's term, we are all in the same boat in a sea of suffering. That's what it is, right? And you can be kind to each other and help each other. Life will be much better. And so hopefully we can learn something that we can, just be kind, compassionate, and understanding, and help each other along. Now, when I first started that in back in July, I had no idea. I said, I'll open my home to strangers. Would they come here to steal things? Or come here to harm me? It was pretty scary, right? Think about all the breaking happening around, So I take a chance. But thank God, because I'm all good people here. And I'm very blessed. My life has been enriched, and I've been re-energized in my old age. And so I thank you very, very much for coming. Okay? Now, today is a little bit unusual because we are basically doing a brief review of what we've covered and look forward to next year, because we're going to repeat the same cycle, the 10 lessons, in January, but that will be a revised version with improvement based on the experiences we have gained last year. Okay. So some of you have taken the lesson already. Some new people like Ricardo, and he has read everything. And he has made his wife read everything. So even if you are not familiar, don't worry, because we just an overview. So here, in the 21st century, we ask ourselves, well, what's the biggest challenge facing humanity? People say, the big challenge is to overcome, to eliminate poverty. That's good. Or the big challenge is to eliminate cancer. That's good, because I'm a cancer survivor, right? I like to have, we're able to defeat cancer. So, but if every money, if every cancer free, would they be able to live a good life? No. Because life is still full of hardship, evil. So the question is that how can we live a good life? Doesn't matter how you define it. Okay? How can we all live a good life in the midst of hardship and evils? Because there are all kinds of evil in this world. The atrocities committed by people against other people, and committed by men against women, or against children, against the elderly. There's so much evil around us. And how can we live a good life, enjoy a good life, when all around us things are so wrong? Right? Another way of asking the question is that how we prosper and flourish in a world full of suffering, injustice, and conflict. So, they talk about, like the positive psychology, it's like global flourishing. They want to see 51% of people flourish. The question is that, can we flourish just by focusing on ourselves? No, we can't. We can't flourish by focusing on ourselves when people around us are suffering. So the issue is not just us, right? It's the world we live in as well. So now, the interesting is that, in fact, Why can't we find answer to these questions? Because we have the technology, we have the knowledge, we have lots of scientific research in psychology and in medicine. Why can't we all get along with each other? Why can't we enjoy life? Why do we have to hurt each other? Why do I have to make ourselves miserable, make other people miserable? What's wrong with us as human beings? All right? We have the knowledge. We know how to be happy. There are thousands of papers on how to be happy. Yet we somehow can manage. So these are the questions today. So I said, well, down through the history, many answers have been proposed and found wanting. We have all kinds of ideas about the utopia. Utopia. We have the Marxist idea about the new human being in a socialist country. We have Christian ideal, we have Buddhist ideals, we have Muslim ideals. There's so many theories, so many ideas about how to make life better and how to make this world better. But nothing seems to work, you see. So I think the question is that life is not a problem to be solved scientifically or in other way, scientifically or logically, but life is a mystery to be lived and appreciated. Life is a mystery means what? Means that the thing about life is beyond the realm of scientific investigation. Now, do you know the mystery of love? You know, I mean, why do they love each other? I mean, what do they see each other? I mean, what's your boyfriend? You know, what do you see in that guy? Eh? No, I mean, now people ask me, what in my wife that attracted me, or what in me that attracted my wife? I don't know. I mean, love is a mystery in a way. You know, of all the millions of people in the world, how do you two find each other? Right? I mean, it's a mystery. And I was one of the few people who study love. You know, I used to be called Dr. Love, okay, scientifically. But nobody really knows. What makes one, you know, we love another person, right? Or death is a mystery. What happens after death? Right? Is there an afterlife? Or what happened to us? Or what? Does energy never period? We live on, the soul live on. The many things, many phenomena in this world cannot be understood just scientifically. You know? So it had to be, you try to live with the mystery, you know, and appreciate life as it happens. So I'm proposing that the human quest for meaning holds the key to understanding the mystery of life. Because basically, the quest for meaning is about, oh, what is this? I want to explore. Open-mindedly, I want to explore. I want to find out what happened. And now the second edition of the Human Quest for Meaning will be coming out, you know, in early next year. So hopefully you can get a copy. But in that book, we have all the leading people and investigate this human quest for meaning. Rebecca put it very eloquently because everything boils down to meaning. Okay? What do people find? You know how people find? People attribute bad meaning to something, some behavior, right? The same behavior, the same event, you can either attribute good motive, good meaning, or negative meaning, negative motivation. So everything I do is how you perceive the world. It's not what happened to you, but the meaning you attribute to the event that determines your behavior. Right? It's never a cut and wife fight over something. the same event, the complete two different interpretations. That's why they fight. Right? The same event, but they make different attributions. You know why? Because they have different frame of reference, they have different perspective, different worldview. Yeah. So in quantum analysis, everything is both positive, negative, everything is revolving around meaning. Now, what is the Meaningful Living Project? But one day, I think in January, I couldn't sleep. I said, well, what can I do to help people realize that they need to wake up from their slumber, wake up from their foolish way of living, wake up from their busyness and meaningless existence. So I said, well, maybe we start the Meaningful Living Project. That's how I started. Right? And so what project intend to do is to provide practical guide for everybody. A practical guide how to live meaningfully for individuals and for organizations, and for community. So I'm grateful that one of my former students in Hong Kong, she's a rich lady now, and she sent me $10,000 to get the project started. Okay? And so that's how I got the idea, I got funding, so here we are. Okay? And another thing different about this Meaningful Living Project is that it is not just based on my idea, but based on the best research, scientific research. But as I said earlier, research by itself is not enough, right? So it's not just research, but psychological insight, and also the wisdom traditions from religion, philosophy, and literature. Like Shakespeare has much to teach us. Confucius, Aristotle, Buddha, they all have profound truths to teach us about how to live. So you can see that the lessons are a mixture of based on science, philosophy, religion. Because I'm a Christian, so I'm a Christian and I'm also quite familiar with Buddhist teaching. But most of my ideas on religion will be based on Christianity. Okay? And those people, those of you who belong to a different faith tradition, and can share with us your view. Okay? Now, here's the more specific about objectives. Now, the first one is about advance the well-being of individual communities through meaningful living. So when I talk about advance the well-being, I'm talking about total well-being. Remember last lesson we learned total well-being. Total well-being includes what? Psychological well-being, right? And emotional well-being, physical well-being, financial well-being. You need money to eat, to live, right? And relational well-being, and spiritual well-being. So well-being covers many areas, not just happiness. Happiness is just one of the area, one dimension of well-being. Right? And not just for individual, but also for community. Right? Because I think one day I put on Facebook a statement like this, I said, fish is made for water, right? And fish would not be very happy, even the water could flop and they die, right? And the birds are made for the sky, when the bird has to fly, right? If you put a bird in a cage, they cannot be really happy. Now, human beings are made for what? Can you complete the sentence for me? Human beings are fish are made for what? Huh?
Interaction.
What?
Interaction.
Relating?
To interact with each other.
People are made, we are made for love, right?
Oh.
We are made for love, right? We are made to love God and love others. We're made for each other, right? intellectual, relational, and we can't. Your name Richard? Charles said that he's retired now. He wants to be connected. Well, we all want to be connected with people. Nobody can survive. Nobody can survive without meaningful connection. Not just get together to eat, okay? Sure, eating is a good thing, but be connected at a deeper level, like a deeper level. This is what I'm trying to do, right? I mean, we are made for each other. We are made for loving each other, not fighting each other, right? And so if we can practice that, and teach other people to practice that, the world will be a better place, right? We are made for love, not for hate. Now, the second point is that we have to learn how to flourish in spite of fate, circumstances, and human foibles. Now, in positive psychology, they teach you that these are avenues you need to pursue in order to flourish. Okay? We can talk about positive emotion, engagement, active engagement in life, permanent, and meaning, accomplishment, and relationships. Or you pursue those 5 things, then you'll be able to flourish. This is Martin Seligman's view. Okay? But that's fine, but the key is that how do you flourish in spite of fate, circumstances, and human weaknesses? Do you know why? Fate often intervenes. Tribulations, temptations, troubles often hit you hard when you are least aware. Things happen. Boom, things happen. I ruin everything. So that, see what I work about. See how we recognize that there often that fate can intervene and change everything. Bad circumstances, economy, downturn, economy can turn sour on you. The stocks can lose money, right? And also your own weaknesses. Your personal issues. Everybody has weaknesses. For some people can be temper. Some other people can be possessiveness or jealousy or too kind can be a problem. Kindness can be a weakness. Kindness can be a weakness. Because you can't discipline a child because they're too kind. You can't say no to people because they're too kind. So later you'll be in trouble. So, and the third point we're trying to do is try to help you to develop strength. And then the positive psychology say focus on strength. But I say you need to focus on strength and also try to overcome your weaknesses. Because with all your strength, all your effort, your best intention, your strongest motivation, you can be defeated by one character defect. In Shakespeare tragedy, right? You can be defeated by one character weaknesses. And everybody has an Achilles heel. Watch out. Watch your Achilles heel. And don't let that defeat you. Know what is Achilles heel. I know mine, but I'm going to tell you.
Come on.
I will tell you, I'm too shy.
Can we make a guess?
Everybody has Achilles heel, all right? And you need to watch out. You'll be defeated sooner or later. That's scary, right? And the other thing that the Meaningful Living Project is to help you to discover and rediscover your passion for living, right? because somewhere along the way, you can lose interest. Oh, what's the point? Life is so burdensome. I'm gonna die anyway. So somewhere along the way, you lose your passion, right? Now, like marriage, same thing, right? Somewhere along the way, now these two are lovebirds, they still love each other, okay? but like 30 years from now, got gray hair, and get get a lot of children. 3 years, 4 years. So my wife and I have been married how many years now?
45.
45,
Whoa.
I mean,
Whoa.
all of us.
So we're still okay.
It's still okay. Surviving.
We still care with each other, right? But the key is how to keep the love of each other going, right?
Then you're going to share with us your secret then. How do you guys do that?
Oh, that's for another time. but the key is that how to, for example, after you got a diagnosis that like Steve Jobs, oh, you're dying of cancer, you have 3 months to live, or Jack London, right? But Jack London and Steve still keep on going, right? They did not let cancer stop them from living, right? Because they still feel passionate about what they're doing. They did not let death stop them on the track. Stop them from pursuing a life that's exciting to them. Right? So the key is how to figure out how to keep your passion growing through life, through pain. And the next point is that how to learn a roadmap to meaningful living, because the terrain of meaningful living is a vast terrain. So you need a guide. I'm here to serve as a guide. You also need to have a roadmap to say, well, how to arrive at a destination without getting lost. Because you can't get lost in the land of pleasure, right? Yeah. Oh, I will sleep for life, but in the pleasure land, you can lose your way in pleasure land. Or you can lose your way in this achievement land. I can't more. You can be lost there. You can lose the whole life there. You can lose the whole life striving to achieve more and more and more, and ends it's empty. Okay? And also how to navigate troubled water, because as I said, fate can intervene. There's always trouble somewhere. Trouble from your spouse, trouble from your children, trouble from your boss, trouble from anywhere. I don't want to scare you, okay? But life's not easy, right? There's always trouble somewhere. You think everything's fine, bang, something happens. And finally, we have to learn the wisdom how to live with paradoxes. Okay? How to live with the mystery of life, because the many things have no explanation. Why bad things happen to good people, and why me, why I have cancer, you don't have cancer, right? There's no answer to that. Right? And now here is some examples of paradox of human nature. We're both good and evil. We're created and made in God's image. We're capable of sublime kindness and compassion, and we create beautiful things. And yet, we are also capable of horrible evils, atrocities. Look at the genocide, in Nazi Germany, and in Cambodia, in Nanking massacre, and now in Sudan, people killing hundreds of thousands of people, and we are capable of monstrosity that no other animal will do. And we're also growth-oriented and self-destructive. A psychologist in Stanford, she emphasized this growth mindset. And Karl Roger and Maslow, also say that we all have the tendency towards growing, towards growing and developing our potential to be a better person. So we all have this tendency, innate tendency to grow, to expand ourselves, to grow. But on the other hand, we are also very self-destructive. That's the scary part. Often, the problems are self-inflicted. The skin is quite wrong, and we use a knife and make a hole, make it bleeding. Oh, sir, I'm wounded. Who caused that? You get a knife and then you hurt yourself. We inflict pain ourselves. We do things that handicap our success, destroy happiness, because we can't see things straight. Or because of addiction. Addiction, it can be addiction to gambling, or drugs, and pornography. Addiction has killed many people. Some homeless people used to be CEOs. They become strict homeless and penniless because of addiction. So people have also this tendency to destroy themselves and destroy their loved ones. And we're both rational and irrational. Okay? Not just women are irrational, okay? Men can be also irrational.
No.
Okay? Men are also irrational, emotional are not rational. The emotion has no logic. I remember I said there's no reason why you love someone that's ugly and that is, whatever. Okay? There's obviously no reason why you love somebody. Okay? So emotion can be one. And also, we are both free and determined. We are determined by our genes. We are determined by our past history. We are determined by our environment. I'm like that because my parents abused me. That's why I'm like that. Or I'm like that because I have no opportunities. Or I'm like that because so and so did that to me. We're determined, but we're also free. And friend will say, you're always free to choose your attitude. Even you cannot move, but you can still choose your attitude. Say, I'm not going to bow. I want to maintain my human dignity. You're always free to choose. Now, this is my final lesson. You're free to choose your future. All of you. Everybody has freedom to choose their future. And everybody can choose, say, I want to make my life better. Everybody can make their life better, regardless of their circumstances. You have freedom to choose. And also we are pleasure-seeking and also self-sacrificing. So this is another paradox of human being, right? Mother she will sacrifice everything for her son, right? Mother will throw their life in her car to save her son. So we are both self-sacrificing and pleasure-seeking. And finally, I say that every virtue is a vice, every vice is a virtue. Aristotle, the first guy who mentioned that, and Confucius also mentioned that. Aristotle talked about the golden median, and Confucius talked about the middle way. Everything too much, too little can be vice. Right? You're kind, but too much kindness makes you weak. Right? Or too little kindness also is a vice. That means you have no more feeling about people. How about confidence? It's good to have confidence, but too much confidence is bad. You know, you get arrogant, right? Overbearing. Or overextend yourself. Or invest beyond your capability to manage. eventually it implodes, right? So confidence can be bad for you. Or too little confidence is also bad. Oh, I'm gonna try, I'll fail. So everything can be good and bad. That's the difficulty of why it's so difficult to live a good life. Because extreme of too little, too big, is bad. And here is the paradox of life, because practical things are often harmful. Everybody like sweet stuff, like candy, sugar. Sugar is white poison, they say, right? Oh, fat, see? You know, like hamburger, fat, makes barbecue hamburger. The fat make it tasty, right? So almost everything that's good, that tastes good, could be bad for you. And anything in life that's pleasant, that give you instant gratification. Sex, food, drug, and I'm going to give you an instant pleasure. That can kill you. Right? And that had to be hard earned. So struggle can be good for you. It's like beneficial experience often come from hardship and suffering. Like a sense of achievement only comes through long hours of work, overcoming difficulty, right? Then you have real satisfaction. Hey, I've done it. I've done something. I've created something. I've done something useful. And the third point is that we really don't know how to live meaningfully until we confront our own mortality. So in other words, you don't know how to live until you face death. That's why many cancer survivors say, oh, those last 6 months or last year have been my best year in my life. You know why? Because the death sentence of cancer woke them up. Oh, I have no more time to live foolishly anymore. I have to re-examine my life, my priorities. I have to live more intentionally, more authentically, do the things that really count. So we don't know how to live until we face death. And here, we are free to live only when we devote ourselves to serve a high purpose. Now that is again paradox. You want to be free, to do whatever you want, you're not free. You become free only when you become a slave, a servant to a higher purpose, a higher cause. So everybody, as the Beatles song, right? Everybody has to serve somebody, right? Everybody has to serve somebody, and everybody has to serve some higher cause. And that's the key, one of the keys to meaningful living. You're not free until you surrender yourself to serve somebody. See, for me, I say, my middle life, for me, the middle life is serve my wife, okay? And serve God. Now remember now, the middle life is serve your wife. For me, serve the children. So it's the middle life. So we have to, we're not free until we don't know. Oh, what happened?
It's okay.
Let's see. Can you make it bigger?
Yeah.
I said I touched them by mistake. You know how to think? Oh, she's an IT person, huh? Good. Are you an IT person? Yeah. Thank you. So, you want freedom, you become slave to your addiction. But you want to serve, then become free. Right? And the last point is less is more, loss is gain. So some people are happy and want less money. Less money means less trouble. Yeah? And loss is gain. See, sometimes you gain more from losing than from winning all the time. So these are all lessons in life. Where's my copy, honey? Now here, why we mess our life, tragedy. Now here's some example of tragedy of life. Striving for something only to find that there's nothing at the end of the rainbow, right? You run as fast as you can. You have this dream of a good life. You strive, you run and run. But when I get there, there's nothing. The only disappointment and death waiting for you, my friend. Yes. There's nothing at the end of the rainbow. It's all imagination. There's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. There's happiness at the end of the rainbow. Only if you work harder, run faster. And end is all amount to nothing. If you choose to want gold, right? The second thing is that you realize on your deathbed, they have been busy all the time, but have never really lived. You don't really live. You have never done the thing you want to do, or never pursued a dream if you love. You're always making money, looking after children, cooking. You're busy all your life, at the end, I never really lived. I've never seen the Great Wall in China. Or I've never gone anywhere outside Canada. Or I've not done this, I've not done that. You haven't done anything with your life. That's the tragedy, right? Okay. And the other tragedy is that we mentioned earlier, I'm getting self-destructive behavior and change everything positive into negative. Do you know there are people who change positive things into negative? If you want to be negative, I'm telling you, if you believe me, you can pick on me for everything I've said and turn negative and attack me. Try that. Easy, right? Oh, you discriminate against a woman, you say the man are more rational than a woman. You're sexist, you can attack me with that, right? You attack me for being a pessimist. Oh, at the end of the rainbow, nothing there. You can turn, everything I say can be interpreted positively or negatively, right? And you make a case against me based on what I said. Anybody can make a case against anybody. Because we all have the ability to misinterpret and to turn positive into negative. Thank you. Thank you. So good. Thank you. Okay. Okay, and the last thing, it gain the whole world but lose their soul. Oh, I lost my family. I lost my children. I lost everything that was of value. Why? Because I want to gain the whole world. You sell your soul to the devil to get rich, to get power. At the end, you lose your soul. You lose everything of value. That's it. That's tragedy of life. Science cannot teach you how to be wise. Okay, now here's the test. Remember, for every day, who need a call in meaningful living? Are you sick and tired of being yourself? Or you see? I mean, some people are uncomfortable in their own skin, right? They're sick and tired of being me. They don't like their look. They don't look like their height. They don't like everything about them. Yeah. Do you feel that your striving is pointless and futile? Do you still feel empty inside you? Even in spite of all your successes, there's still a nagging sense of emptiness. Or are you looking for meaning? You want to look for meaning and purpose in life, even you have all the material things. Are you still looking for meaning and purpose? Or are you going through a transition period, retirement, or being told that you're dying of cancer, or transplanted from China, from foreign country to Canada, goes through a transition period. You need a new direction. You need a new direction, then you talk about, you need a lot more of me. And if you feel lonely and alienated and nobody understands you, are you worried about change, about uncertainty in the future? Are you afraid of death and dying? Are you struggling with your personal issues that you dare not share with anybody? Your anger problem, your addiction problem, and your self-esteem problem. Everybody has personal issues. Or are you still trying to figure out who you are and what to do with your life? Right? Some people are still trying to figure out. And finally, have you lost the passion for living? Now take a quick survey. Of 10 questions, is there anyone here that none of the 10 questions apply to them? Rebecca?
I have something to say.
Yes.
When I was going through my the place that I was before, all these 10 of them applied to all of them applied to me. It was a huge struggle. I did not want to live. I had no reason to live. I could not find passion in my work. I could not passion in my family relationship, anything. It was like just about everything was bombarding. Just like everything felt negative, everything was attacking me. I couldn't find that passion. There was no reason to live. It was a huge struggle just to get out of bed, just to drink, just to talk to people, just to pick up the phone, just to put a smile on my face, just to dress up, just to go buy milk. It was all a struggle. I've been there. It took a lot of effort, a lot of learning, a lot of growing up to do. Hugely is your perception. It's our own perception, how we look at life.
No.
Eventually, after going through it, I can say, yeah, I have overcome that. Although I'm not saying that I won't be, every day still something will come. The only reason it comes is because I, my soul, have chosen it, that I want to go to another level, another evolvement that I wanted. So it's there for me. So it's not really a struggle or a thing. It is what is it for me to that I can pick it up from here and go forward. So
Thank
it is
you.
basically,
Can I ask that question?
yeah.
In the process of struggling, to, so what kept you going? What kept you fighting and struggling?
Question
There
your
must be
mind.
something.
I did not want to live. Basically, I really
You
did
don't
not
want
want
to
to
live,
live.
but still
What
struggle.
happened was I wanted to kill myself. I wanted to die. But I couldn't do it. I had no courage. There's no courage to kill myself. So I said, who is most important here? It wasn't the mind. It wasn't my character. It wasn't who I am. So I had to go to a deeper meaning, who I am. Who I am. Everyone has to find that search. No one can give you that. You go inside, find out who you are. When you find out who you are, you're bigger than everything you thought you were. You're bigger than everybody, everything what people say about you. You're bigger than your career. You're bigger than everything. It's so big. When you are at that place, it's so peaceful. It is so creative. It is always wanting to live. It's always wanting to drive and do something. When you see successful people, you wonder, where did they get the courage? How come they are never tired? Why are they always doing something? That's when they tap into that. We all have that. We got to tap into it. When you tap that part of you, who you are, we all are individually unique. We all are different. But when you tap it, nothing, jobless, career, money, people's opinion, they matter no more. But the 10 things there really don't matter anymore after that.
And the 10 questions were relevant to me as well, because the meaning making is an ongoing process. It's not settled about. But since change, right? Since change makes you think about, oh, since change now is my life still worth living, right? So it's an ongoing process. Well, let's look at the next slide. Is that the part 1 we cover 10 lessons, right? We cover 10 lessons. So I think the only new person who I read the whole thing is you rate out 10, okay? But don't worry, when you go for the 10 again, okay? Let's summarize a little bit. Basically what we have learned, okay? That you're free to create your future. That's why we're here, right? You're free to discover who you are to do. But be careful what you dream for. You know why? Because if you choose after the wrong dream, it will lead to tragedy. Right? And we also talk about the meaning mindset versus success mindset. You look at your life, you say, I want to live a meaning. Frank will say there are two axes. One is meaning, one is success. If you pursue success, if you don't succeed, then you'll be depression. Right? But if you pursue meaning, if you can't find meaning, there's still this emptiness will compel you to seek. So the pursuit of success can be the most devastating pursuit, because it can be the most devastating illusion, because you throw yourself into the pursuit of success, or your energy, your time, your family. At the end, a big letdown. Okay? So the success mindset that you're more likely to succeed, yeah, but there's a pitfall there. Okay? But the meaning mindset is much safer. It not only protects you against temptation and adversity, but to make sure that what you pursue is meaningful, worthwhile pursuit. And the next thing is that the road, meaning is the road to good life, because it protects you, it guides you. Okay? And when you pursue meaning, happiness comes to the back door. Okay? In other words, the happiness is not something that you can pursue. Happiness comes from doing good work. Happiness comes from intrinsic satisfaction of knowing who you are, knowing what you serve. Okay? And the most important principle is a pure principle. Now, pure stands for what? Come on, Rob.
Purpose, understanding, responsibility. And did you see that YouTube clip? the Perry.
Oh, yeah.
I can't. The E is
Enjoyment. Right?
enjoyment.
Enjoying the result.
It's like the YouTube.
You're so close.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Check it out.
It happens to anybody, right? Also, then you just got last point. Okay? They go back again. And the last point, and then main principle we learn is self-transcendence. Self-transcendence means what? Transcend yourself, right? It means rise above yourself. It means live for something higher and bigger than yourself. That's the key. Right? Self-transcendence. You'll be able to, master those few principles. Everything about it. Okay? Now this is the second part. So we're now talking about okay. So basically, what you learn is meaning center intervention. Now ABCD. Who can tell me? Steve, your turn.
Oh,
Okay.
I apologize. I can't remember.
Anybody want? You want to try? ABCD. A stands for what?
Accept.
Acceptance. B.
Believe.
Believe. C.
Commitment.
Commitment. D. Discovery.
Evaluation.
E.
Evaluate.
Evaluation. Right? If it doesn't work, you accept bad thing happening to you. You accept that. You believe that things could be better tomorrow. Things are better tomorrow. If you keep on struggling, I'll find an answer. Believe, right? See, you commit yourself to pursuing something meaningful. And then you discover something about you that you don't know about, right? You discover something more about life that you know about. And if you haven't found things that really work, you evaluate again, say, have you pursued something wrong, you fine-tuning. Right? So we can spend a lot of time on that, but this is a very powerful intervention. And we also need to develop tragic optimism. What is tragic optimism?
When you dream too high, maybe.
Huh? Oh, Dana.
When you dream too high?
You know, aim high. Well, you maintain your optimism when tragic strikes. When your world collapses around you. When everything falls apart. Your business falls apart, your marriage falls apart, and your health is falling apart. When everything falls apart around you, how do you maintain hope, right? That's tragic optimism.
Oh.
I mean, hey, you know why people? Do you know why Rebecca did not kill herself? Deep down, she had hope. I mean, it's not just that courage. Deep down, the will to live. You know, that go to the hospital, it's the will to live that sustains you. What is will to live? That tomorrow could be better. Maybe they want a drug. They might discover a wonder drug that cure cancer. Maybe believe that, well, even though I go through my pain, I believe that my life has value to my children. My children have to see me. Right? So you have to believe something and faith. You must have faith that somehow that things can get better. Even uncertainty itself offers hope, right? Because uncertain, therefore could go bad, it could go good. It could be good, right, tomorrow. So tragic optimism is the only kind of optimism that can endure catastrophe and tragedy. Okay? We'll learn about that. So we'll also learn how to develop resilience and how to transform death anxiety to death acceptance and how to transform negative into positive. So that will be covered in the second part. Okay? So let's skip to the final conclusion. So here's my vision. Here's my vision for global flourishing. Is that we transform individual communities to meaningful living. We're going to set up meaningful living groups in various parts of the country and train more facilitators. Those people who have gone through the first and second part can become facilitators. We want to develop international networks of meaningful living groups. The last point, the good life is the good life is not just about you. Good life is about having good people, plus good community, plus world peace, you get good life. Just focus on self. You can never achieve good life. So that is an overview for today. And December we have a Christmas party, and starting January we start the lessons. Okay. Thank you for your attention.